Oh wow. Let's see. It's time to do some reaction. Yeah, let's see. Oh shit. The fix. Before I can start, do some reaction. Okay, that's done. Oh shit. So, yeah, let's see. Not Formula 1. Williams. Now we have it here. Williams. And it's not Sauber, it's Stake F1 team. They did a car livery. Yeah, not the car, just the livery, probably. Reveal yesterday. And my feelings is almost this. F1 don't like Andretti and Cadillac. That's disgusting to them. But here we have F1 liking the Stake F1 team, or Visa Cash App Red Bull. This is profit for Formula 1. This is the peak of stuff for Formula 1. This is, if Andretti and Cadillac gets into Formula 1, we know F1 is like a shit show. So, but we have some people that have some stuff to say. Let's see if they have interesting stuff to tell.
It's a new year, officially a new name, and a self-described aggressive new car for Sauber's huge rebrand of its...
That you can actually say, real aggressive.
F1 team, which will bridge the gap to Audi's debut in a couple of years' time.
No, they would try, but this gap, it's filling the gap with this. I mean, yeah, sure.
The Stake F1 team C44, to give this car its full title, has a bright new colour scheme to mark the switch from Sauber's Alfa Romeo era to the start of this 2-year Audi transition. But the boldness goes well beyond running a bright green highlighter across a carbon base, as this car has some catching up to do in F1 Super.
Yeah, like I feel like I saw yesterday, the carbon era is like, why?
Competitive midfield, and to ensure these vital 2 years aren't wasted for team co-owner Audi ahead of its own...
look at this. Here we actually have a car with a real livery, with a probably real name. Why did it fill the gap with this fucking
2026 entry? There are plenty of changes we can see already that are aimed at achieving that. New technical director James Key calls this virtually a completely new car, with just a few carryover areas at the rear from its predecessor. And as he told our man on the ground at the team's launch, Ed Straw, the C44 is seen as an aggressive design with a lot of potential.
When I say aggressive, or when we say aggressive, I suppose for a design, it's really pushing the boundaries of what you're able to do in a given area as best you can to allow you more space to develop, let's say, aerodynamically or mechanically. And we'll see that actually. I mean, the car we'll see on track has already developed beyond the car we're launching today, for example. And you should be able to see, if you compare to last year's car, it's a significant step in refinement.
I mean, you really hope they make a better car. Is this just... probably will make a Williams.
You know, that's been very aggressive. That's a good example of it. Suspension designs, internal and external and so on, are all pushed that little bit extra.
Some of the changes to the car are under the surface, and doubtless some stuff's going to look a little different when we see the real thing. The C44 will make its track debut on Friday, February 9th at a shakedown at Barcelona, so we could get an early chance to see what details have been kept hidden for now.
February 9th? That's in 3 days, or... Let's see, 1, 2, 3, yeah, 3. I mean, you can say 4 from this day. So 3-4 days. Soon.
If
we
not,
say.
we'll have to wait until pre-season testing in Bahrain, but don't worry, there's already a lot we have been able to glean.
Oh, like what? The name, the color, the sponsors.
Last year, Sauber was one of the teams to run with push
Rear. Aha. Okay. Push rod. Push rod, push rod. Oh, they did with both push rod.
rod suspension geometry both at the front and rear. This year, Sauber switched to a pull rod configuration at the front as part of what Key describes as a completely new front suspension. Key stresses this was a choice made for aerodynamic reasons, given it gives advantages in the way the airflow is managed at the front of the car.
Again, its aggressive approach is a bit of mechanically risky, but you could really do with, on balance, a better performance from that area of the car. And it's all driven by aerodynamics. You know, if you were a suspension designer, you would never design a suspension of a Formula One car the way it is, particularly on the front. It's all aerodynamically led, and it is fundamentally better aerodynamically for the way these cars work.
At the rear, Sauber's stuck with the pushrod configuration it introduced in 2022 and achieved by designing its own gearbox casing. That meant it wasn't limited by using the same pickup points as Ferrari, which supplies the gearbox internals. By switching to the pull rod front suspension and sticking with pushrod rear, Sauber matches the design approach taken last year by Red Bull and McLaren. Key does not believe that such suspension configurations are a massive game changer in isolation. He believes that there's an overwhelming case aerodynamically to have the pushrod configuration at the rear, while the choice at the front was less clear cut. The race's technical expert Gary Anderson believes that a pull rod front suspension offers specific gains. It allows more rising rate, which means the more load the front suspension is subjected to under braking, the more the spring rate rises. This helps resist against that load and stops the front from diving down as much, keeping the aerodynamic platform more stable in the more extreme conditions of heavy braking.
So
While we wait,
well, we will see if what they picked was the best one.
to get a good look at what the real front wing and floor look like, there are some very obvious aerodynamic changes we can see. Key calls Sauber's direction a lot more extreme than last year, and unsurprisingly, that direction follows the one set by Red Bull. The lower edge of the side pod inlet has been moved forward in similar fashion to Red Bull. Extending the lower part controls the airflow that spills out of the radiator inlet duct at high speed and invites it to travel over the upper side pod surface so it doesn't compromise the consistency of the airflow going through the side pod undercut into the...
I mean, wouldn't it be funny if Stake and Kick all the money that I went to the car and then they will be lost behind Haas?
the Coke bottle
There was so much wasted money.
area. There's a different shape to the side pod itself compared to last year to go along with this. It has a more aggressive initial undercut, and instead of being flat, wide and running smoothly down to the rear, it has a taller midsection that creates a more...
Wait. Yeah, they have... Yeah, well, of course, Alfa Romeo is gone. No. Okay.
running smoothly down to the rear.
I thought... I mean, Alfa Romeo... Sauber had the name before. So for some reason I thought, oh... The Alfa Romeo team, that is Sauber, didn't have the name, but Alfa Romeo isn't part of Sauber, so...
It has a taller midsection that creates a more concave surface akin to the waterslide style designs we've seen on cars like the late 2023 Mercedes.
Yeah, Mercedes, they didn't like their... What was it called? No, zero pods. I mean, wouldn't it be fun if they went back to trade zero pods again?
Cars like the late 2023 Mercedes. The bulge in that midsection houses predominantly electronic and engine systems, which Key says is really brave and intricate to go that small but still make it work. This car also has a very different roll hoop shape, finally moving to the more common...
You couldn't, yeah, you could say when Key, I don't know his name, James Key, when he talked about aggressive, building this car really aggressive. You could maybe say they did a aggressive gambling to make this car. They gambled all this new stuff will work. Let's see if the gambling
An A-frame
turned out
structure.
good.
Not the old single spike design that you may remember failed in Sauber driver Zhou Guanyu's spectacular Silverstone crash in 2022.
George Russell. Yeah, it was George Russell. And man, Alex Albons had you all the new stuff on his car got wrecked in the first meters. Man.
This should be a lighter solution, but this high up could impact the car's centre of gravity. Unsurprisingly, it is tricky to read too much into what we can see on the floor. The real detail is underneath,
The gambling floor.
and what we can see looks very much like it did in 2023. The leading edge of the underfloor is of similar height, and the outer floor edge splitter is a very similar profile. The outer edge of the floor also has very little detail, so should look fairly different when the car first runs.
Just nu får
Ja,
du en
jag tar-
cheeseburgare för bara 15 kronor.
Ja, faktiskt
En
så.
dubbel cheeseburgare för 25 och ett
No, thank you.
You've probably noticed by now we're hearing a lot
Wonder if taking James Key into the Sauber stake F1 team. Wonder if that also was a gambling stake.
of technical director Key talking about
What do you say? One way, a gambling.
this car, although ironically he hasn't had a huge amount to do with it given he only started work at Sauber in September last year.
I don't have any
That
words.
means the C44
Fucking-
obviously wasn't conceived under the former McLaren man, and he admits that the team had to commit to an ambitious direction well before I
The team had to take a gambling direction well before I joined.
joined.
But why? Come on, just say it's a gambling. You just gambled your way into the team.
But he has had time to influence this. The fact Key was axed from McLaren means questions over whether he's really the right man to spearhead the technical side
Oh, could you say it was a gambling to take him on, or take him in the team?
of things for Audi's soon-to-be works team. But Sauber CEO Andreas Seidel, who was Key's boss at McLaren, clearly believes in him. And Key
Yeah, because he put his gambling odds on him.
was still at McLaren until early last year, so did play a role in some of the breakthroughs in understanding that helped that team leap forward. So his technical leadership could be crucial in tackling Sauber's weaknesses, especially as there does appear to be some low-hanging fruit. Sauber had a poor season in 2023, reaching Q3 just 5 times and never finishing a race higher than 8th. It also had the slowest car on average. On the
Oh, so they really need to do some gambling. I mean, they have nothing to lose. Getting lost or last.
plus side, its deficit was only 1.6%, meaning that if the aggressive changes this year yield a good performance step, it's within striking distance of being a regular top 10 threat. After he joined last year, Key quickly recognised several obvious areas for improvement. While he wouldn't and still won't say exactly what they were, he cited a couple of things on the aero side that really stood out to me, which were causing some of the losses. Promisingly, he suggested there's a lot of time to be gained from tackling those. The 2023 Sauber had too much drag and couldn't always run at as low a ride height as was hoped without skid wear problems. The car also still suffered from the rear end instability problems in faster corners, even though that weakness was improved from the previous year. It usually worked better in slower corners. And Key also pointed to how the team approached tyre management as needing to improve, calling it quite far behind where we needed it to be.
So one more area they could do some gambling.
From what Key told us at the launch, a lot of these problems should be alleviated by having a better understood, more refined mechanical platform that's actually fit for purpose with these low, stiff ground effect cars, and that's a result of suspension changes the team was already shifting towards before his arrival. One factor that will be key to putting up a better fight in the midfield will be making more progress on turning new designs into
The new gambling part.
parts. Sauber got better last year with the effectiveness of the upgrades that did make it to the track, but was nowhere near as prolific as, say, Red Bull's second team, and its production capacity still needs to get better. There should be an opportunity to do that this year. Sauber invested in its production and design departments at Hinwil in 2023, as well as a new CFD configuration that improved its calculation capacity and output. This aids a relatively old but still effective wind tunnel, the one built with the cash the team earned by selling Kimi Raikkonen to McLaren after his rookie F1 season way back in 2001. Key describes that wind tunnel as legendary and at a really good level, but as rivals have invested heavily in the same technology in recent years, it has needed some improvement. Sauber went from, as Key puts it, being ahead of the curve on the wind tunnel to behind it, but a big plan to upgrade it as part of the ramp up to becoming Audi's works team in 2026 is underway, and it's already providing high fidelity data to help drive development of the 2024 car. Basically, these wind tunnel upgrades are about measuring things to a higher standard rather than fixing any problems. The upshot across the tunnel, CFD and production improvements should be more upgrades and better upgrades.
More gambling upgrades and better gambling upgrades probably.
Something Sauber has badly lacked of late and has basically left it wielding a knife in a gunfight. There's a clear emphasis on changing that, as the team has already flagged important updates that are already in progress and should arrive in the opening rounds. The word aggressive crops up yet again when Key talks about the team's development plan, but the proof will be in how Sauber performs in the second half of the year.
Wait, the fuck did he say?
Will be in how Sauber performs.
How Sauber is stake F1. See? It's stake F1. Why do you say Sauber?
In the second half of the year compared to the first.
Fundamentally, yeah, this has got much more potential, you know, both in terms of the aerodynamic concepts it's got on it, which are very different to last year's in many respects, but also the space we've left ourselves to operate in. There's lots of areas we can still exploit with the car by packaging really, really aggressively and very, very tight.
As we mentioned earlier, this stake F1 team era is bridging the
Yeah, now you said stake F1
gap
team.
between Sauber's Alfa Romeo sponsorship and the beginning of Audi's full works entry in 2026. And team representative Alessandro Aluni Bravi is blunt when he says these 2 seasons make up a big transformation process. As we explained in detail in this video on what's going on with Audi's Works F1 program, this year and next are critical to laying the right foundation. Turning a lower midfield entry into a team that can deliver on Audi's target of being very competitive within 3 years is not the work of a moment. And this is a team that finished 9th last year, regressing from 2022, so it clearly needs to get its act together or alarm bells will be ringing in Germany. The good news is that with investment from both the Sauber and Audi sides, there's work going on to improve this team in all areas. We've already discussed the technical infrastructure improvements at Sauber's headquarters, but there's also a technical recruitment drive that Key, unsurprisingly, is particularly excited about, in addition to more experienced race team personnel already being hired and new pit stop equipment being made available this year. The message is clear. Audi cannot afford for this team to tread water in 2024, and with so much changing, not just the name.
Yeah, hopefully 2025 Audi will say, yeah, let's actually make some better sponsor for the team.
Name in the livery, there's no excuse not to start scoring better results. It would be too much to expect this team to produce an Aston Martin style turnaround and start 2024 scoring podiums, although what a story it would be if that did happen. But even if we have to be realistic for how high the ceiling can be, improving on a miserable and pretty anonymous 2023 is an absolute must.
Yeah, must.
In the heart of Jerusalem.
Oh shit. No more. Oh shit. Okay, click. No. What do I click? Oh shit. Okay, so that's a click. The YouTube get removed, and then we can go to the next one. Let's see if this will give any more interesting stuff. So, what did we learn? Sauber, Stake F1 team, had done a lot of gambling of the new car to make it maybe better, but we'll see. Yeah, we click. Ooh, and here we have some more stuff to. Why do they have and Williams in? What are Saubers? It's Stake F1. Come on, people are so dishonest.
Our reaction to the Stake and Williams F1 car launches.
Wait, what?
Our reaction to the Stake and
Oh, he said it. He said Stake, but they right Sauber. Why?
Williams F1 car launches. First and
Let's see. What did I? No, I have written Sauber also, right? See. Yep, I also written Sauber. Fuck Stake F1.
foremost, we're going to start with Williams because they started at the first part of the day, so they deserve our first thoughts.
Wait,
The day, so they deserve.
god damn it.
They started at the first part of the day, so they...
Fuck me.
First and foremost, we're going to start with Williams.
You so why is... Man, the disrespect. First you write Sauber first, and Williams in... What's that now called? And then you say you start with Williams, so why not Sauber in... Oh, man.
Because they
Why?
started at the first part of the day, so they deserve our first thoughts. And that is exactly where we're going to start. Turn
Oh, I need to... Here we have the 2023 and now 2024. Let's see, what is the
the
reaction?
light on!
History in the making. It's very similar.
Yeah. Is it darker blue? It feels slightly dark.
Yeah, there's a lot of black on that.
There's not too much black, is there?
No.
Come on, let's put some
I
respect
like
on
the
their
pin, I
name.
like the pinstriping. Oh, they got a lot more sponsors, which is nice to see.
That's a nice looking car.
like it.
They've actually painted some of it.
Yeah, they have. Looks very
Big
cool.
W for Williams.
An evolution, I'd say, of the livery from before, which I really liked anyway. And they've just added some sponsors, so like.
First thoughts on the
That's a
livery.
sponsor.
And
Oh shit.
for me, a reasonable banger. No, Williams have chefed. They've cooked it up. Now, I think it's beautiful. Like, I love the light and the dark.
Beautiful. No. I mean, it's better than the other stuff, but beautiful. I don't know. It's okay for me.
Blue and how that kind of combines. I have seen a bit of confusion with some people seeing renders online and thinking it's blue and black. Yes, there are some bits of black because of course they're trying to weight save, but the main dark blue area that I think people are getting confused by is dark
It's
blue
dark
and not
navy
black.
blue. For now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is very cool. It's essentially like an evolution of last year. They've got a few new sponsors, which is great to see. So obviously Williams doing well because they've had a very bare-looking car sponsor-wise for a while now. But I did really like it last year. This year again, they've done a really good job. It's really nicely styled, looks smart, and they're kind of going for which is the PR spin anyway. They're trying to like merge all their histories together with a bit of like navy blue and white overalls and lighter blue and a bit of red and all this kind of stuff.
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
I think they've done it.
So that is why the different blue colors. Oh, I thought they would be doing something more amazing, like the British livery, the 800 race livery. Okay, so this is lame. I mean, You could have like names of people that have won and won championship with a car. That would be interesting. But no.
A very solid job.
Yeah, I think it's worthy of a lot of praise. I really like it. There's not much I would probably change about it, to be honest with you. And obviously the race suit.
I will change, but only if they actually can win races. And that's to the yellow and blue colors.
Suits was another talking point because they are pretty much all white with just a little bit of blue on the arms. And I quite like that as well. I think it's quite clean, it's quite slick, and the drivers will stand out in the car as opposed to, I guess, if they had a dark and light blue overalls, perhaps they wanted to kind of be a little bit more contrasty and went for the white. But again, some people were complaining a little bit about it, but of course it's car launches, liveries, everything's subjective to your own opinion. But yeah, I personally like the white overalls as well.
Another thing that caught a lot of people's attention is one of their new sponsors, which is called Komatsu, which is the surname of the new Haas team principal. And I saw Haas having some banter online about, like, why have you got our team principal's name on your car, which is quite funny. But jokes aside, it is good to see that Williams actually have.
Man, that's one way to get your name on a car.
You know, some sponsors on the car now because they are moving on up.
First question comes in from P1 Patreon member Ruben. How much blue will be left on the car in Bahrain?
Maybe no blue left.
It's a big talking point, and I think it'll be the same for the other car that has launched today as well, because we have seen.
Remember that all teams will have a color, or the color they have on the car, which slowly, if it's rain or the wind hits it, it slowly fades away.
Over the last couple of years, cars be rolled out in their launches. Oh, that's quite nice. But then they have testing, and then they look at the data and go, right, we need to save every millisecond we can. How much can come off the car? And then they start stripping back little things, and then all of a sudden there's not as much on the side pods or on the front wing. And that's just the sad state of affairs, right?
I mean, hopefully F1 will try to do a rule that you can't show any carbon. The whole car need to have a paint or livery on it.
Right now in Formula One, I don't know why, for whatever reason, Formula One haven't gone down the route of making that change so that.
I mean, they are happy with the stake F1 team, and we saw cash up Red Bull names.
Cars and teams can be more decorative, but yes, it is certainly something that is an option for all teams, and I just hope it doesn't happen.
Now, how much do Red Bull do this? Let's see when they reveal the car.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! No. No sound. Ah, goddammit. Ah, come on. God damn it. Let's see. Do I have sound? Yes.
Used dark navy blue deliberately because that's the bit that it will look very similar if they just get rid of the of the navy blue. I know that's something like if.
Oh. So they're planning for future tear off of the livery.
You study like the Red Bull and stuff. That's obviously a really dark blue that almost looks black, and they can take little bits of paint off, and you kind of don't even notice that the livery's changed. And that to me sounds like something that maybe that's what Williams are going for. I hope I'm wrong.
It would still fit, I guess, with the Duracell branding as well, because there's black up there.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I'm not. If you're listening, Williams, we don't want this to happen, but we see what you're doing.
We see what you're doing.
Right, let's move on to steak now.
Yeah, sure.
They've been cooking, but only
Gambling, you could say.
to sort of like
They've
medium
been
rare, because that's my
cooking
favorite.
with toxic waste. Here we go. Lights out.
Be good. Oh,
Oh,
Oh!
Oh, hello.
Oh my god. Really? No! Oh my god. Maybe they should put on some clothes on the steak car.
Greenmeup.com.
Go on. More green. More green.
Ah, don't tell me that was it. Don't tell me it's only on the nose.
More.
To be fair, this is a car launch, Steak.
It
You're popping
is.
off.
3,
2,
2, 1.
1.
That is bold. Oh, that is
Oh!
cool.
Oh!
Okay. Oh my god. Okay.
Oh, that's filth!
Yeah, that looks great.
Oh, that's hot.
Yeah,
That's-
Oh my god. Whatever you want to do, don't do it on the camera. When you're recording, do it maybe after.
It's
very
really hot.
Oh, yes, that is great.
Oh my...
Man, just listen to the sounds. You wonder what they're doing.
God.
That is bold. That is what we wanted.
Oh, don't make me stand up right now.
I think nobody wants to see you standing up.
Oh, that is weird on the side.
Oh, that's filth.
That looks cool.
Oh, they've been chefing. Tommy, you give us your first thoughts. Go on.
My first thoughts is stop moaning about
You're talking about yourself, maybe?
a
Oh,
livery doing something exciting, because
I was gonna...
Is he still talking about himself?
say the only thing I was doing was moaning when that came out.
Yeah, true. Fucking moaning.
yeah, no, I like it.
In a positive way, before
in a
anyone thinks
positive way.
You like it. It sounded like you have found your new wife that you want to have kids with.
Yeah, it is. It's bold. Is it garish? Yes. Is it bold? Yes. Does it look a bit cheesy? Yes. Does it look a bit my team garish? Yes. But what's wrong with that?
So yes.
Like, it's cool. Like, we're complaining about there's too much carbon. Haas is a great example that, you know, we're saying that their color palette is white and red. It's so unoriginal and just makes it a bit dull. But you have that pop of color, which is exactly like what McLaren have done, and that looks really cool. Like black and orange works really well.
Oh shit, I've not watched, not seen the McLaren yet. I plan to watch. Hopefully they show it in their reveal
Together.
thingy.
Of course, green always divides opinion, especially the vibrant green that it is. You know, I've seen a lot of people like this livery. I feel like will be people giving it 9 and 10 out of 10, or 1 or 2 out of 10. But the reality is that it's exciting, and boy, will it pop when it's 15th.
Wow. When it's getting lapped, we'll see it. And
Yeah.
Like, oh, that looks good.
Yeah.
Oh, Max
Oh, yeah.
Verstappen's
Oh,
coming
yeah,
up
the
to a stake here. That's quite clear to see. And to be fair, Max will be able to see them very clearly as well, no matter what the conditions, even in heavy rain. Yeah, it's funny because you were saying about the whole, you know, polarizing opinions of this. Obviously, I tweet mostly about all the car launches at this stage, and you have like someone going, oh, I can't explain it, but I like this. You've got someone else saying, you know, I absolutely love it, and then you've got this green is too ugly. You know,
Yeah.
it's very.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, it's something. I don't know. It's good and bad. I don't know. It's something.
Yeah, one way or the other. But then you ask yourself, well, what do you want? What would be something that's
Pink.
that's so clear of an identity, and that's what you want.
Racing
from
Point
liveries?
pink.
And I'm of the same opinion.
I don't know. Yeah, they had different pinks. So the last year of Racing Point, that pink.
As you, Tommy, I love it. I think it's great. I think maybe I would change the way in which the green is on the.
Oh no, or did both years? I don't know how many years Racing Point existed, but hot pink or what's now the best pink is gone.
Car, there's some parts of it maybe I'm not so much of a fan of, where
I
there's
want
a lot
to
of
have
exposed carbon.
On a car, so off with the green and on with the pink.
On the side, and some of the angles I'm like, could maybe
I mean, I like the carbon car.
change it slightly, but overall, I'm not going to get too nitpicky because everybody's opinions are different, and
Yeah, some people sounded like they did something really bad on the camera when they saw the livery.
I still am very happy with how they've done this because I
Happy. So they say they like it and they're happy. I mean, they sound like they have more feelings than what they are telling now.
thought it was going to be minimally green with a lot of black, but they've put on more than they needed to, I guess, in some ways, I would say.
For now.
That is again, they've gone, social media says there's too much green.
Too much green. There's like 50% green. So they could put on more.
Your wish has been granted. Here you go.
Yes.
So yeah, we can't. They can't win. Teams can never win. You're not going to please everybody. But I think when
Ferrari can, I think. Oh, well, not for the people that, the Ferrari is red this year also. Wow.
we were on Twitch and a lot of people were saying they're a big fan of it. I think it was about a 50-50 split of the poll that we did between Williams and Stake in terms of who they liked more.
Williams is better.
But they're both banging liveries.
Tie. One more time. Celsius, a new
So
flavor.
I would say it's, tomato,
Yeah.
tomato. No,
Exactly.
that's not the...
I think as well, like probably I'd dare say that there's probably maybe Visa Cash App if they do something crazy.
Oh my
but
god, Visa.
I don't think there's
Do
going
you
to be
think they will?
Yeah, I think
Stick an
that-
ATM on the side? Like you could just put a flipping debit
we
card
had
Well,
the
that's
Visa
going to be
Cash App.
interesting because they've got from their teaser images, they
Actually-
look like they're going back to the Torosso blue and white. They've kept the Orland sponsorship, which is obviously the bright red, and Visa Cash App is bright green like Stake. So that could be bold. So that could be crazy. But I think certainly so far, at least as well, like this will be one of the launches that surprises people most. Whether you
Let's see who's left. Where do we have? Alpine. That could be maybe not the interesting livery, but will they have any pink left? Aston Martin will probably not do anything interesting. Ferrari, no. I mean, Mercedes could maybe. McLaren already shown. And Red Bull will probably do. So, yeah. Visa, Cash App, Red Bull will probably be the most interesting to see.
love it or
No.
hate it, I'm sure a lot of people's reaction, either good or bad, was, oh wow, that's something. Because we're so used to now seeing livery season, and we all complain, don't we, when they launched the livery and it's exactly the same, and it's like, oh, that was a bit underwhelming. You cannot say that Stake hasn't whelmed us.
Exactly. It's so
I think you could have said more, like, I mean, still their direction. I think you could have said, like, how much you did, what you maybe did in your pants.
solidly whelming. At Asher Win. Are Stake F1 testing all year long for Audi with all that Flovis paint? Good one. Although it might actually look even better if they just whack on more flow and then this is just a full green car. Maybe there's thinking there. And then
maybe.
how do teams learn what their aero is doing if they can't see it because everything's
Yeah, probably.
green?
So what
This is
you're saying
big
is,
brain. Stake F1
But can they see? That's the
to
question.
win the world championship.
or they confuse themselves and they
Yeah, true.
finish last because they don't know what they're doing. Or
All
that.
that.
Yeah, that could be a real surprise. The fuck will they do? Everything's green.
Positivity, Tommy. You know.
The only thing more insane than that livery would be if Stake finish anything higher than about 7th in the Constructors' Championship, to be honest. Like, I don't see how that's going to happen.
What are your final thoughts, Mr. Bellingham?
My final thoughts are, well done, Stake, for doing something garish and bright looking.
Well done, Stake. Good one.
Hey.
Yeah, very clever. You think you're smart, don't you? You know?
Yeah.
Well done.
I know. I cooked there.
I mean, come on. You can say they did a great gambling with the car. They did a gambling with the livery. A good gambling taking James Key on to make the car.
Oh, God. Anyway, thank you. Thank you for watching or listening. It's been a pleasure. We'll be back in a couple of days' time for Alpine, where we will have a 3.5-hour conference, followed by a pink and a blue car, and then we'll go, oh my God, and then that will be the end of that. So we look forward to it, don't we, Tommy?
Absolutely.
And also subscribe to Will Knowledge. Bye!
Bye!
So between 450 and 6 minutes, I would say that was not fun. Okay. Let's see. Should I watch and then I click? Boo! Did that work now? Did I click right? Yes, I did. Okay. And then I can just click to next clip, maybe. First I will just see. Did it do anything with Williams? Okay, no, they just... I thought it was more interesting to just do a... They also write Sauber. Okay, nobody believes in the Stake F1 team name. I mean, it's a big joke. Let's see, no, Autosport did also write Sauber. Man, nobody cares about the fucking Stake F1 name. Oh, there we have it also. In the same, but Sauber next step towards Audi Stake F1. So they have Sauber and Stake F1. Okay, let's see. Oh, add type for 50 seconds more. Let's see if they have anything more interesting to say. See, this Williams, so we should have this ready. Oh, one more at a time. Come on, be done. Shit, and then we sound, and then we click this one, and then we have, oh shit, no, god damn it, like that, and now.
Formula One's 2024 season is well and truly underway. We've had 2 launches today, from Williams the FW46 and from Sauber Stake the C44. We're going to focus on the Williams launch right now though. Will this historic team raise itself even further up the grid? They were 10th in 2022, 7th in 2023. What about 2024? Well, let's find out more by talking to Hayden Cobb and Philip Clearon. Great to have you both here. Hayden, whereabouts are you? Talk us through your...
Let's see. How much stuff? Okay, James was. That would probably be interesting. Oh my god, they is talking about like everything. Okay, let's see.
Your surroundings.
I'm currently working from home, just outside Woking, so I can probably
walking home.
hear the McLaren factory right now. But yeah. So it's not far away.
Lovely stuff. And what about yourself, Philip? It looks like you're in a slightly different surroundings as opposed to Hayden, which is home for him.
Well, I'm also home, not in Hayden's home, but in my own home office in Barcelona, actually. So also close to F1 or an F1 circuit, at least for the time being.
Okay, well, look, let's go to this livery then. The FW46. This is not a dramatically different livery from the team. Similar in the way to Haas, not a huge amount of changes there.
True.
And we have seen this livery with the FW45. So let's start with you, Hayden. What are your thoughts, hit or a miss?
I'm okay with it. I was hoping for a bit more white in terms of their return to when they've run the white liveries before. Obviously, that looks great when it was Martini sponsorship in particular. And they were sort of teasing it earlier before their reveal.
More white. Let's see. Wasn't see Williams HP. Yes, let's see if I click up there and then we change that to that. There we have it. So this could Williams maybe do again. Maybe not with HP, but the colors. And then we need to change back to our, to my, God damn it. I can't do it. I need to, for some reason, have that up, and then I can do that. But that would be interesting, more white.
With the race
So maybe next year.
suits being predominantly white, and I thought, oh, that may be nice. But as it is, they've stuck with largely what they had last year. Obviously, it puts a few new interesting.
Oh, there could be something. When the car is started to be better, they can switch to more white, and then when they start winning races, switch to yellow.
Sponsors on too, so I'm okay with it. But I was hoping for more.
All right, Philip, are you as
I would say true to that. I also hoping for more, but until the car isn't winning races, in no hurry to change the lame livery or half. I mean, it's okay, but what it could be, it's like
less critical as I thought Hayden was going to be?
It's all right, actually. It's a decent livery. I know people love seeing.
Yeah, you could say that it's decent for a livery until they start winning races. Then they need to switch up.
Massive changes year on year and see something fresh. And this is very similar, obviously. It's not bad. I think the white and red pinstripe really adds a nice little detail. And other than that, like many teams, they really want to keep a lot of surfaces black so they can keep it matte carbon, save some weight. That's sort of inevitable with these rules, I'm afraid.
We don't really get to see any technical insight other than the way the car looks, though. So it's going to be a waiting game for us all to find out. Now, Phil, you've been to the media sessions today with team principal, with James Vowles, and also with the drivers Alex Albon and Logan Sargent. Now, as with all the teams this year, it's a static driver lineup, exactly as it was last time. But let's start with Vowles himself then. Joined the team last year. We shouldn't really forget that. It certainly made his mark on the team as well. He's a bit fairly critical as well about the team's performance, I think, over the last period of time he's been there. But at the launch, he spoke a lot about how Williams' goal isn't just looking at today or tomorrow, but looking, further down the line and into.
Yeah, looking for 2024 can be bad, but 2025 we need to be better. Let's look 2 years forward than just tomorrow.
The future is long-term team strategy, and this is what James Vowles said to you a little bit earlier on at the team launch.
2023 was our best season since 2017, and I had the fortune to be here as a part of the organisation once we're on that journey together. And it sets the foundation, just the foundation for what we want to do going.
Oh, let's see, 2023. Let's see, where do we have? They end up. Oh, wait.
Sets the foundation, just the foundation for what we want to do going forward. What it shows the world is that.
And this is what James Vowles said to you a little bit earlier on at the team launch.
2023 was.
Okay, so he said a year that. Okay. Yeah, 2022 can't be so good. But okay.
Our best season since 2017.
So hopefully. Okay. They need to be better than Alpine if they want to be even better than that.
And I had the fortune to be here as a part of the organisation once we're on that journey together. And it sets the foundation, just the foundation for what we want to do going forward. What it shows the world is that we're not a team that's last anymore. We're a team that's on the journey back to the front. And
that I really hope. I mean, the race last year on Silverstone, Ferrari and Williams is fighting each other. I mean, that's a beautiful sight, and hopefully I will be able to see that in real life or on TV.
And we made a large step when we put that update on last year. That journey continues now. And what we need to demonstrate to the world is we're a serious contender, that it's not one moment that we've moved forward, but we're on the right path back to the front of the grid.
You're the future.
Well, Phil, you've spoken to the team about this idea of looking forward, which is, I think, refreshing to see Williams doing just that. How is Vowles looking to strengthen the team this year and also further into the future as well?
Well, I think just coming from Mercedes to Williams, there's such a big chasm between the two teams that obviously he's going to try and replicate some of the things that made Mercedes so successful. So it's clear that he's been very realistic about what it will take to get back to the front. It will take years. There's such a deficit in terms of infrastructure and staffing. And this is just another...
Like many people said, they've been like all the stuff have stayed the same for many years. And now when he arrived, he has seen like, okay, all this need to be changing. Like, we need to change up a lot of stuff.
Another year where he'll try and put in new people, new bits and bobs in place to try and bridge that gap to the top teams, which won't be easy. But he's got Pat Fry involved, who worked with McLaren for a long time, and with Ferrari, so he knows what a winning team looks like. And it's sort of not only infrastructure, but also just the mindset of, personnel. What is the right attitude towards this? It's not about surviving anymore. It's about making progress. It's trying to, as Pat Fry and James Vowles both said, it's about thinking like a winning team, even if you're not there yet. So This is another transitional year, I think, where maybe we won't see too many headline results, but there has to be this tangible step forward, both on and off the track.
What is a tangible step forward, though? What do you think he's seeing as a tangible step forward?
Fighting with Alpine, I would say. I mean, let's see. I mean, they're probably the next step, fighting with Alpines. Maybe even Aston Martin if they don't continue being up there. So slowly by getting closer to Alpine, I would say is the...
Well, if you look at Williams last year, its main weakness is that it's got a very peaky car that's only really competitive at a handful of circuits. It's very low speed, very aerodynamically efficient. So that meant it was really strong at tracks like Monza, Canada, lots of straights. But it wasn't good in braking per se or low speed corners. It wasn't good in very high speed, like long high speed corners. Very sensitive to wind and to different...
Yeah, oh my god, it's so depressing every time Alex Albon or just mention it. The wind is too much, so a good point scoring race would maybe not happen. And hopefully they fix that. I mean, they must, so they can actually start fighting with Alpine.
Temperatures. So I think the first step now is to, okay, how can we
remove all the small problems that make them not succeeding equally much as other teams.
Try and preserve some of those strengths, but not be so peaky. Let's have a car that's more all around. Because if you look at where it finished, Williams finished 7th with 28 points. But if you want to make a step to 6th, well, Alpine finished 6th with 120 points. So it's still a massive gap if you want to move up. And the only way you can do that is to have an all-around car that's capable of fighting for points every single weekend. And I think that's what Williams' next challenge is. Just make an all-around car that can compete everywhere.
Which is lovely in theory, but it's not quite as simple as that. I mean, you've got to make inroads. Hayden, what are your thoughts?
Very much the same. Yeah, it's every weekend picking up those points. I think Williams deserve great credit for what they did last year in terms of that lower midfield battle, effectively coming out on top. Because, like you say, yeah, if there was, say, I think 6 tracks where they felt confident of fighting for points, I think they scored pretty much at 5 out of 6, if not all 6 of them, and really maximised their opportunities as well. It took the most out of that opportunity, particularly with Albon, even Sargent picking up a point with disqualifications in Austin. But the problem they've also got...
Yeah, I hope that Sargent, and I will start talking about him, but if he don't get better this year, like if it's continue being where he is now, I think he will not be in Williams much longer.
Which I'm sure we'll come on to a little bit later, is to close that gap, they need both drivers scoring consistently points, and that's not what they had last year with Sargent. So yeah, not only an all-round car, but an all-round driver duo as well to pick up points together.
So how do they do this, Philip? Because
Sargent need to step up. If not, you can maybe go to Andretti. But F1 isn't much for the Andretti Cadillac team. So maybe not. Oh shit. The fuck do I... Oh my god. Yeah.
As Hayden just says it, you need both drivers, both adding points into the pot there. Alex has done it, proven that he can do it at this level, and in Formula One, Logan needs to maybe up his game. Is it just a simple case of putting their arm around him and giving him the confidence, or what can they do?
Tie. No, thank you.
Well, I think that's what they have done through last year, and that's, giving him a new contract.
But who will take his place? I mean, if Sorry Percy isn't left in Red Bull, maybe he will take that place. And maybe Jürgen Joe, if he isn't left in Stake F1, or Bottas. Or maybe Pocher can get that place, or Westy.
This is the perfect sign of having that confidence in him and having that support behind him. I think it's just a really big year for Sargent, because speaking to him earlier, he's now had the time to reflect on what his year was like, and he said, like, okay, my preparation wasn't right, I wasn't really physically where I should have been, and then with such a relentless 22 race calendar, 24 race now, there's just no time to catch up, because you're constantly recovering and living race to race. So I think having that off season now to just focus on getting it right. He said he's changed his trainer, he's changed his training, he's gained 5 kilos, which I'm assuming is muscle mass.
Hopefully. I mean, it is doing some wrong training.
So he's really done a lot of work to try and build himself back up. And we asked James Fallows about this as well, and he said, he looks way more confident now, having been through that experience. And the reason why he's still there is because, okay, he's made a lot of mistakes and he was very inconsistent, but in the data they saw, he had pace. There were flashes of pace. He just made mistakes at the crucial time, so it didn't.
So no more mistakes this year, or he's maybe out.
Didn't translate into results. So they believe that he can now put it together, and now it's up to him to deliver. Because we've seen teams sack young drivers for way less, so it's all up to him now.
We'll come properly to Logan Sargent in a bit and hear his thoughts as well. But Hayden, when we look at their driver lineup, Alex Albon, his driver, he's been around for a while now, and he's had his ups and downs. He's been through some pretty tumultuous periods of his career in Formula One. What can he do you think, to help Logan along this journey?
Yeah, what could he? I mean, he could just keep giving information on how to do stuff.
I think first and foremost, be the benchmark, continue to perform like he did.
Yeah, give information on what make the car good or bad.
Last year, as you say, if Logan ever needs sort of to look through a comeback career in terms of a Formula One stance, Alex Albon's got plenty to tell him over that. But yes, be the benchmark, keep leading this Williams team in terms of development direction and in terms of sort of pure results as well. But yeah, Alex Albon's also probably been a driver that you would say, particularly in those Red Bull days of where things were getting particularly difficult, having that crisis of confidence. And I think Sargent probably would internally at least be having been felt that sort of at various points last year, particularly with those key moments, sort of crashes coming out.
Oh my god, the biggest one when he succeeded to drive off the road and get his time deleted. And it was just because he drove over the pit stop line, I think. And that's annoying.
And so, yeah, it's learning from those mistakes. It's finding that consistency. And Albon is sort of the perfect person to look from that. That I know that they sort of have a sort of varying, differing...
and the information was... what was it? Something with the corner. You drove outside the racing line in that corner, and you can't drive outside that.
Driving styles as well, which can obviously be difficult to translate instantly, but just learning through the data, looking through where Albon is strong and trying to sort of replicate that and bringing his level closer to Albon's level.
And that's always a tricky thing, isn't it, Philip, that when you've got two drivers with different driving styles and you're creating a car, you can't create a car to suit both driving styles. You have to go down one particular avenue. And if Alex Albon's the point scorer, he's going to get the car built and set up for him, and Logan's going to have to adjust his driving style and technique.
Yeah, but even Alex was not really enjoying driving that car. So
hopefully they've fixed that, because, man, driving a car that you don't really like.
It goes back down to getting a more consistent car that is good at different corner types. So you're not struggling on the braking or in various corners. So I think if they achieve their objective of making a car that's more together, then that will automatically help not just Sargent but also Albon just to be more consistent.
Like I say, we'll touch on this Logan Sargent topic in just a bit. But first of all, Alex Albon, he's now entering his 5th season in Formula One. And that's not including his time as a test driver and in the Red Bull family. And we managed to catch up with him, or I think you managed to catch up with him, in fact, didn't you, Philip, earlier on, and hear his expectations on the season and the car and its driving characteristics.
The 46, the approach that we took was looking at our weaknesses from last year and realizing that without a big change, we're not going to fix them. So
yeah. Hopefully the changes making them better, so they can continue just getting just closer and closer to the top teams.
A lot of work and effort got put into changing or focusing onto the FW46 very early on. In terms of driving, I actually think it's going to be quite difficult to adapt. I feel like what I learned over 2 years driving the 44 and 45 doesn't carry across to most racing cars. And it was very easy to make mistakes in the 44 and 45. Whereas the 46 should be a much more forgiving car. On paper.
I mean, you can really hope that is, and not worse.
The 46 should be much more of a complete racing car. So what you saw last year were these peaks coming in. When we look back and we understood why the reasons were why we were quick, it did make sense. But in the moment, it didn't. So let's see. Maybe our peaks aren't as peaky. But there are tracks, for example, like Monaco or Barcelona, which have always been very tough tracks for us. And they're the ones where, last year was more about, we've got 6 races in the year that we can score points in. Hopefully it will be 24.
Well, Phil, you heard firsthand from Alex what his hopes were, his aspirations were for this season. Can you maybe elaborate on what he was saying about his hopes for the car, the performance, and how it's going to help him in different scenarios, what it means to both the drivers?
Well, I think, again, as we said before, it's about having a better car across different circuits. And there is no, let's say, fairy tale going on at Williams that they will suddenly be much more competitive. But I think Alex also realizes that this is a long-term project, and
So I don't know how true that is with Alex Albon going to Red Bull. But I really hope he will stay at Williams and be part of the team when it starts becoming better. So,
we can speak about his contract later because that's a different topic altogether. But I think this year, again, if he can score points more regularly at various different venues, different corners, then I think that will give him a lot of confidence in the team that it is on the right track, as James Fowles is trying to put it, and that it's a good team to be for the long term.
And Hayden, with the fact that Mercedes and Williams are so tightly tied, with a new engine partnership that's going to last until at least 2030, and this new seat maybe being open up in Mercedes for 2025. We know there's going to be a seat available in 2025. Is this something that you think maybe Albon is eyeing up realistically for next season?
This is no disrespect to Williams, of course, but if I was Alex Albon, I certainly would be eyeing it up. Both guys, definitely. Yes, it's a curious situation, obviously, with Hamilton off.
See, will Alex Albon, I mean, probably with Red Bull, he probably would wanna be in a better team. But the question, do I really want to go to Mercedes? And do Mercedes really want, the Mick Schumacher or Vesti? It's maybe taking Alex Albon to Mercedes and then put Vesti or Schumacher Williams.
To try from 25 and gives Mercedes, sure, it's going to be one of the most hotly contested seats available, with probably the exception of the second Red Bull seat, depending on Perez's future, for the entire season. You would say Mercedes don't need to rush into a decision necessarily, because their options will largely remain as they are between now and the end of the season. Albon is obviously one of the candidates that's been talked about. Obviously, the Williams connection makes a lot of sense. Mercedes' last 2 driver recruitments have both come from Williams. Valtteri Bottas, obviously, as the very, very late Nico Rosberg replacement, which was probably a bigger headache, or must have felt it at the time for Toto Wolff, trying to replace the world champion. And of course, George Russell, who did his year's apprenticeship, you could say, at Williams, and then got obviously promoted to Mercedes. So there's logic to it, and you can see why people have made the comparison, and you can equally see why Williams are sort of going, no, he's our driver confirmed at least until the end of 2025. But I would also say that so was Lewis Hamilton at Mercedes until he activated his release clause. So there's I'm sure there's plenty of things that can be done to.
And also they can also buy him out if they agree with it. So.
To loosen that, and maybe this is Williams' tactics. Like, if you're going to come for Albon, you need to sweeten the deal quite a bit, because
double the payment for buying the contract.
He is the driver they invested in in the last sort of 12, 18 months, and he's their lead driver. They knew that Russell was was going to Mercedes, and they put a plan in place to say, right, we need another driver with a few years' experience, trying a few cars, and now is making the time to step up and be the lead driver. If Williams to lose early driver, much like Mercedes losing Hamilton, they need to find a ready-made replacement. That cannot be Logan Sargent, or at least on the evidence we have right now, that won't be Logan Sargent. Now, of course, we go down to
It could be Alonso.
hypothetical if he leaves, who joins, and that conversation will probably never end. But it's feasible. You would say that Albon should be looking at that Mercedes seat, and if he does...
No. Why? Okay. Oh shit.
Sort of perform above and beyond a little bit like he did at parts of last season, that states his case for Mercedes even stronger. But it's in his hands, but I wouldn't say it's anywhere sorted yet. There's a long way to go.
Philip, on that one, how good a fit do you think Albon would be at a team like Mercedes?
Oh shit, add time.
Då ska vi smaka på något lite kraftigare med anor från 1886. Varsågoda.
So let's see, will he be a fit for the Mercedes team? I mean, maybe. But I hope Williams will fight to the death to keep him.
Well, I think he would be a very good fit because he's clearly just learned so much from being promoted to Red Bull, arguably a little bit too early, just failing there, having to rebuild himself, take a year out, and then go to Williams. And we've seen now he's really, at the peak of his powers, just dragging that team single-handedly to 7th. And not only that, but he's a very intelligent guy, very calm. He's got a lot more experience now. We've seen Mercedes in the past, they're not too keen on rookies. They've had George Russell at Williams for 3 seasons to really mature as a driver and as a person. And Albon seems like a good fit on that front. He's ticking all the boxes. James Fowles has been quick to say, hey, he's been signed up until 2025 because it wasn't entirely clear what his situation was. But then if you ask Albon, does that mean you'll definitely stay until 2025? He says, well, time will tell. Let's see. So it doesn't seem as watertight as you may be, as you might think. It was, as Hayden said, the same with Lewis. We thought he was locked in, and it wasn't.
Well, yeah. Hamilton made a contract that he knew how bad Mercedes was, so make a contract so if the Mercedes car is bad again, you can leave.
So with Mercedes and Williams being very friendly, maybe there's a deal to be done. Certainly when Fowles was asked this question, does that mean like you would stand in his way? He said, well, would I stand in his way? I'm just going to think about the long-term future of the team, not the short-term. And it's not about one individual. It's about the whole team. So that sort of leaves the door ajar, in my opinion.
And often when you see a driver go through some very, very low lows, they suddenly become a much more rounded driver, don't they? And they can deal with the ups and downs a little bit better, Hayden.
Definitely. You would certainly say all the experience that Albon's got, highs and lows, as you just said, puts him in good stead for potentially what would come to join Mercedes. And we know he's got a good personal relationship with George Russell. So in terms of a teammate dynamic, that on paper, on the face of it, looks great. I'm sure in terms of a marketing thing, also is a bit of a dream. But I guess it's that question of putting him back in a top team. He's had the chance to shine at Red Bull, and it just didn't work out, unfortunately for him. Has he sort of got that experience to do it again and sign out? It's not often that drivers would, let's say in Albon's position, get 2 opportunities at a top team like that. I mean, I'm struggling to think of one off the top of my head in terms of recent times that, say, hasn't flourished on the first attempt. So, yeah, it will be fascinating to sort of see basically what he does over the first few races, first half of the season, and how much his name is constantly in the conversation when it comes to replacing Lewis Hamilton at Mercedes.
I mean, here we are. We've just been discussing pretty much Albon to Mercedes like it's a done deal. Like, it's definitely happening. But just finally on this one here, if it were to happen, would Albon, I'll come to you on this one, Philip, if Albon were to go to Mercedes, would he be happy with being a Bottas or a Perez to George Russell, or would he want to be that number one driver?
Well, I think it's different because he's not slotting in alongside Lewis. He's slotting in alongside George, who's his, like Hayden said, is a good friend of his. They race together in Formula 2 and growing up together in karting and then what have you. So I think they very much see each other as peers, as equals. Of course, George would have a leg up as being at Mercedes for a long time, but I don't think there would be a clear number one if that were to happen.
Okay.
Probably.
Okay. Well, let's move the conversation.
Until George Russell realizes he maybe will not win a race, then he maybe will not be equally friendly.
Back a bit to Logan Sargent. As we said, he's no longer a rookie. He's entering his second season in Formula One. He got that solitary point at Austin, Texas last year. And here he is reflecting on his rookie season and what that does to impact this season.
I think the biggest thing I've learned is, well, it's nice to have a year under my belt. I know everything that I'm, what to expect, everything that's going to be coming at me.
So this year you can't fuck it up. You need to be on point.
So that's already a huge benefit compared to last year. But at the same time, I also learned you really have to maintain yourself and manage yourself over the course of a season, which I probably didn't completely understand going into last season, and something I definitely want to be better at this year. That goes for many things, from trying to keep yourself
like scoring points,
physically in good condition, mentally fresh, emotionally fresh as well. So just a lot of things that I feel like I can manage better to keep performing consistently better throughout the year.
Well, Phil, you heard from Logan earlier on, and we have kind of touched on this already a little bit, but what are your thoughts? What are the sense you get from him about what he is going to do in 2024, what he's going to do and what he hopes to do in 2024 that are going to help push this team forward?
Yeah, I guess we've mentioned the physical transformation, if you like. I just think Franz Tost always said a driver needs 3 years to adapt to F1 to become a proper driver. And I think...
And this will be his second year now. So will it...
Logan's learned the hard way of how demanding F1 is, not in terms of underestimating it, but in terms of just it all sort of happened to him across the season, and it was really hard to find the time and space to not only to bounce back from that, but just to stay in one piece mentally and physically. He's now got that experience of having been everywhere, having been through such a grueling calendar, that I think he can focus a bit more on his driving rather than just having it all happen to him. He can be a bit more on the front foot, I think. And well, hopefully for him, the car will be a bit more benign, will be easier to handle, and that should help him as well. But I think having received his second chance at Williams, I think will do a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of making him at ease and just making sure he can really just focus on getting the most out of himself now.
Okay, well, it'd be interesting to see what happens this season. Looking through the slightly wider lens than Hayden, I mean, we look at Williams last year. They finished 7th overall in the Constructors, 28 points. That's their best result since 2017. Can we realistically expect them to push themselves further up the grid this year, or is it going to be something?
No, but it will probably be closer to Alpine, hopefully.
We'll see bubble over maybe in the next years afterwards.
It is a huge ask, and given that the rules are largely stable for this year, and they
need to score more points than Alpine. Let's see. Alpine scored 120 points. They scored 28 points. So it's like, let's see, 92 points difference. So there will be, they can be closer, but
deficit that they had to just Alpine above them in 6th place, as Phil mentioned earlier, it's a massive gap to bridge.
Yeah, 92 points. They need to get closer.
Be interesting to see when they fully reveal their new car in Bahrain for the preseason test, what sort of changes they've made to make this sort of consistent behaviour and consistent feeling, and whether that can put them in the realms of that, and if anyone else dropped the ball to do it. I would say on what the information we have right now, no. Consolidating and sticking sort of 7th place has to be their target overall, and hoping that
probably. Let's see, they will probably be closer than Alpine this year, so next year we're just getting closer until maybe 2026. Then they hopefully are competing with the Alpine.
With both drivers consistently scoring, they can close that gap to potentially have a sniff of higher up, but definitely no lower than 7th would be the option for them. And then
if Alpha, or what do we have? It's not Alpha Tauri. It's the Visa Cash App Red Bull. If they don't succeed to be better, then Williams will probably easily succeed to be just behind Alpine.
Having that, as you've said with James Vowles, having that long-term project and vision of looking to the rules reset and looking at the opportunities ahead that are going to be greater when they come to sort of 2026 time.
All right, well, we see how this...
Even if Audi comes in and also ruin it, then 2026 would also be bad for Williams.
Season pans out. Gents, before we go, finally this one-word hit-miss on the livery that they have given us. Start with you, Phil. Hit or a miss? Maybe you can go a little bit further into why you like it or dislike it, and then we'll wrap this one up.
It's a slight improvement on last year, so I'm going to call it a hit.
Oh, a tentative hit. Hayden?
I think it's too similar to last year, so miss for me.
What?
It's just there's nothing that exciting that we've seen from before.
Well, just leave it there. Thank you so much, gents, for casting the right over the Williams launch. Don't forget, we've got the Sauber Stake launch coming up as well. That happened today too.
Wait, did you say?
We've got the Sauber Stake launch coming.
Sauber Stake? They just stake F1 team. Man, people don't take the stake name seriously. Everyone says Sauber.
Coming up as well. That happened today too. And don't forget as well that we've got Alpine coming up on Wednesday, and on Thursday we've got Red Bull or Alpha Tauri or whatever it is they're called at the moment. But until then, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Red Bull, probably. Okay, but it's time to see. Let's see. I will click on that. Let's go away. And I can go to the Sauber. Oh no, the Sauber's next step towards Audi stake F1. Nobody cares about the stake F1. And then I click, and it's back. Man. Let's see, and then we need to get this Alfa Romeo and stake F1 cars in the pictures. Let's see, what fun will they say? Stake launch event, that was something. Livery fault car design, driver lineup. I mean, that's something. Bottas back to Mercedes. Could that actually happen? Will it happen? If that happened, then the Carlos Sainz can easily get into this stake F1 team.
Well, Formula One's launch season is in full swing, and following on from Williams' launch today from New York, we fly back across the pond to London for the newly rechristened team, Stake F1 Kick Sauber, formerly...
Oh my god, yeah, do they also have kick in the name? Oh my god.
The Alfa Romeo team as they launched their 2024.
Wait, let's see. Do they? Stake F1. The stake F1 team kick Sauber. Oh my god, the biggest joke name ever. Until we see Red Bull's, eller Visa Cash App Red Bull name.
Challenge the C44 in what is quite a dynamic, bold statement, I think it's fair to say. Well, I'm Bryn Lucas, and joining me from the event itself is Matt Q, and our tech guru himself, Jake Boxall-Legg, aka JBL. First of all, JBL, great to see you here.
I'm not too bad, thank you. Obviously not at the launch. Obviously Matt, Alex and John all went, and Adam Cooper did as well. But someone's got to stay home and write the features and do a bit of work. So I've decided to stay at home. And yeah, it's not been a bad day.
And Matt, there you are, enjoying the event itself. What are your impressions of it?
All right, thank you.
Like the event, the spinning head with the green. Like the Roman spinning statue heads with some green. And that was so weird. And this is the peak of the future of Formula 1. It's having stake F1 team and the Visa Cash App Red Bull. Can't have washed up names like Andretti and Cadillac in the Formula 1. Yeah. And the future looks really bright for Formula 1.
Yeah, I'm in the dungeon at the Guild Hall, which is where Oliver Cromwell used to keep his horses.
Dungeon
so of course you think perfect place to launch an F1 car because the overlap is considerable. But yeah, it's been an interesting event, and I suppose this year in particular, with everything being online, we should celebrate a physical car launch and rubbing shoulders with Aguero and.
I mean that you can say true. The car was real. Then I think Just Haas just did the digital showcase car. Maybe Williams did a real car. I don't know. But Sauber did that.
Whiskey Sours.
Did that. At least that. No! God damn it. The sounds just disappeared.
Interesting take and a very cool venue. I believe it is also a Harry Potter set as well. I think the Room of Requirement, I've been watching them recently, but hard to find anything concrete on Wikipedia to back that up.
Thought you looked happy. I thought you looked rosy.
Rose, I'm not sure if we can go with rose. That's an Alfa Romeo colour, implies red. Everything here is green because it's stake. It's hashtag unleash. It's a new chapter with
Force Unleashed 3 is revealed.
All the old faces and whatnot. But yes, this is very much a new team. We've had all the good words like brand.
What do you think about the new team? Yeah, it's new. Sure.
And synergies and activation, all of that. So it's definitely a new team, a new era for.
It's definitely a new team. What do you think about the new team? It's definitely a new team. Yeah. It says so in the Wikipedia, so it's new.
Sauber, although it's stake F1 team, and they've acknowledged that in the races where they can't be staked because it's an online gambling.
Kasinostugans nya jackpot, Stugchansen, kostar bara 1 krona extra per.
Gambling firm, they will be kick as well. So yes.
So, what are your thoughts then of this new identity, this new visual masterpiece from the team?
It is quite striking, but I'm a big fan of green. I don't think the livery is overly successful. It's sort of very like motorsport manager F1 game template. But it's a different color. It's bright, which is good. It's not black. Well, it is black. It's a lot better.
Yeah, 50% black
carbon, but you should be able to pick the cars up in the back of shot. And the team is upbeat that they've gone for an ambitious, aggressive step over next year.
Still a question about this car.
It also seems a bit more truthful. I don't know if you remember the Sauber launch from last year, where they teased a load of renders with this really like aggressive serrated floor edge, which is a red herring, and sort of, I guess that's a bit of F1 humour, but this feels a bit more of a good use of our time. It feels a bit more legitimate for now. But like I say, it is a bit confused messaging. The fact.
I mean, this looked like a Formula 1 car in GTA. Yeah, GTA 5. When you. Yes. What's it called? When you fix up your car and neon lights under the car. What's more? And then bright colors and then what's it called? And honk. What's it called? That play some random music.
They have buried the Sauber name, but they still say they're very proud of their history. The fact that stake can't be used in other territories.
See what the fuck is called? Translate. Oh my god, what do you show on car? Oh wait, I can just skip that and see just car horn. It's just the color. Okay, so it's called horn. Yeah. So some classic music horn, and then it will just be like a Formula 1 car from GTA.
They've got to have a different brand, and the team principal or the team representative.
Oh, maybe this is from GTA 6. Man, I should do a promotion. The new Formula 1 car from GTA 6.
Alessandro Aluni Bravi, he's great, very eloquent man, but he's a lawyer, so he's very precise about the way he answers questions, so sort of refuse to acknowledge.
That could you the P1 Thomas and what's he now called? Can I say? This looked like a car from the GTA. That's why they liked it so much.
The fan backlash was really considerable to this team name, so much so that they had 2 goes of it. You remember when it appeared, when they first did the Sauber kick launch stake F1 team, and then said, oh, no, guys, we've got something else coming on the 1st of January, and then it was stake F1 team. So, yes,
it's a joke.
A new and exciting era, if you like, but I don't think
it's a big joke.
Proud history should be
the biggest April Fool joke in history in Formula 1.
Jet washed off the pavement.
What about you, JBL?
Well, I've written today's feature about the launch car because there's been a bit to talk about technical-wise, which I'm sure we'll get into in a bit.
The gambling part.
What it does do is it reminds me a little bit of something that you'd maybe create in... Do you remember Need for Speed Underground 2?
Or GTA 5, neon lights on the floor.
On the PS2. Bare carbon car, green flashes, that kind of thing.
Come on. How old is this people? Come on, GTA 5. It's the perfect game. It's the most recent game also.
Kind of reminds me of something you'd create as a 12-year-old. So it's not my favourite livery, but it's it's interesting enough.
If it was pink, it would be so much better.
Different to the Alfa Romeo livery.
GTA 5's hot pink.
Is over the last couple of years. just getting bored of the bare carbon now.
Now, Stake, obviously the first team this season that are doing a proper car.
Yeah, let's see. Can I... see? Because I think, say, GTA 5 Formula 1 car, hot pink. I mean, it's close. Let's see if I can. There we have it. What's this called? Stake F1. Here we have the future of... what you can say? Formula 1. Man, just normal colors. Boring. Oh, Mercedes. Neon lights is needed. Why do it? Not any car have neon lights. It's like how every car is made in GTA 5. If you don't have neon lights, do you really have a car in GTA 5?
A launch where we get to see the car, and they've gone a bit wild and they're a bit Halloween, bit punk sort of vibe. But Stake is certainly taking it seriously, aren't they, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, amazing venue at the...
Wait, seriously?
Certainly taking it seriously, aren't they?
Who is taking this seriously?
Getting bored of the bare carbon now.
Now, Stake, obviously the first team this season that are doing a proper car launch where we get to see the car, and they've gone a bit wild and they're a bit Halloween, bit punk sort of vibe. But Stake is certainly taking it seriously.
Yeah, the gambling business, they are taking this seriously by naming it Stake Kick Sauber team,
aren't they, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, amazing venue at the Guildhall. We were sort of in we've been in the dungeons for like the pre-show sort of media duties, and then they let all the influencers in upstairs into the glitzy bit, and they did their proper launch ceremony, which was good. Some cool graphics, some loud music, but then, you know, as James Key, the technical director, comes on, people's attention starts to sort of wane a little bit, so it's hard to hear.
It was a gambling act to put in on the stage.
What he's saying, but yeah, really cool venue, and like I said at the start, Bryn, like any physical launch at the minute should be celebrated. The time with drivers we should appreciate. So it was cool, and obviously, yeah, Stake have got this very clear 2-year window, haven't they? You know, post Alfa Romeo, pre Audi coming in, so they're throwing some money at it, which, yeah, look, is, like I say, should be celebrated. And a couple of celebrities
celebrated. Why? Paid off actor, what this is? This need to be celebrated.
He's in the crowd, which is always
it's
quite
a big
cool.
yoke.
You know, tough ass to follow
celebrate.
on from Zinedine Zidane being Alpines this year, but Aguero is still quite cool nonetheless.
And JBL, from these images that we've been seeing so far, what are your thoughts on the car? Is there anything in particular that jumps out at you apart from its striking colours?
Well, I think looking around the kind of side pod area has been moderately interesting, because clearly they've kind of stuck with the same downwashing philosophy that they used last year. But there is a clear difference to the overall side pod shape.
Do we have actually neon lights? But we need that on the car.
That it was shown in with launch renders, and there was a kind of sort of beta version almost on the car shown at the launch. It's got this sort of weird kind of underside it looks like kind of like a pelican's gullet almost. It's sort of like a weird kind of sort of lump at the bottom. I think because the undercut of those side pods is so obvious, it's so kind of not, I'm not going to say extreme, but it's a pretty deep undercut. What you would probably do is you'd end up sort of opening yourself up to creating a little bit of lift in that area, and that's not necessarily something you want. So the overall shape there, just probably negate that a little bit. Make sure you're not getting any ill effects with airflow and stuff like that. And those side pods have kind of got that underbite to the leading edge to the inlet as well, that kind of Red Bull pioneered a little bit as well. So there's some similar threads there overall. I think, you know, everybody's going to kind of go for that kind of shape, given that it was so popular, that given that the Red Bull concept has been so successful over the last couple of seasons. So there's some similarities there. But I also think there's a few things that they're hiding as well. I think the front wing, it looks a little bit underdeveloped. It looks very similar to what they had last season. So one wonders if there's a little bit of scope to improve there. And weirdly, I was watching the stream of the launch, and the rear wing looks suspiciously like the one that was on the F122 kind of show car that all the teams got their hands on. So again, I think there's a few things that they're hiding from us. There's a few things that, you know, they've kind of given to us and gone, there you go, take those, you know, those little hints. But I think there's more to come from Sauber.
Yeah, maybe. No, I C44. What the fuck is that color size?
We were great in testing. Now let's do this for.
Man, they have done this ad lite too early. You should maybe have helmet on there now.
The fan. Lights out, and we are go. We have got good grip.
Fuck is this?
Go to plan B.
Plan B, Plan X, Plan Z.
Box. Get ready for the final push. We are losing time here, guys. Enjoy this moment, gentlemen. You have earned it. Yes! Go! Smooth operation, boys. Smooth operation.
Nailed it.
Proud new partner. Peroni. Okay.
They're playing a fine game of poker, aren't they? Holding their cards
That was
close
a
to
weird
their
ad.
chest, and they're moving their chess pieces around.
I mean, that's why you don't have ad blocks. Then I wouldn't see this fucking Ferrari ad.
Around a little bit. Now, as the drivers then, the driver lineup, this is entering its third season. Matt, what are the drivers saying about this car and their expectations for 2024?
It is fast because it's green.
Obviously, as you'd expect at a launch event, they're sort of towing the party line, some not like rehearsed lines. They're not reading off auto cue, but it is that last year was very much a placeholder while they built up the rest of the team.
I think this year will also be a placeholder. Probably next year also. Until Audi actually comes into Formula 1.
And now they've gone for a sort of a more ambitious,
more gambling way to do stuff.
Car design. The interesting thing though is they're saying that rather than like the third year of this rule package allowing even more convergence, so you think back to sort of the final few races of last year where 1.6 seconds was covering everyone in Q1, they think that because these rule set are not the most inspiring, so there is like a performance ceiling which people are running into, they think actually there might be a bit more divergence. So some teams will go, actually no, the lower center of gravity is like an area of untapped potential this year, or no, it's, you know, their pull rod front suspension, that's the untapped potential. So they think teams will focus in different areas, and actually that will bring a bit more of a performance spread, which is interesting. And James Key was saying that actually he still doesn't think the cost cap has taken effect. So the big teams obviously still, you know, even though we've had it's been in since 2021, there still will be like a legacy gap, which is a horrible turn of phrase, but like as in the big teams who've been spending for years will still be ahead, and that's where Bottas and Zhou are. They're sort of upbeat. They think they'll be, you know, 2-3 rows further up on the grid on a good day, but they're setting their expectations. And I think both of them privately know that they're fighting for their drives. Obviously, Bottas with what's happened with Hamilton, could be another appealing option for Mercedes. But
I mean, they could, but Bottas or Mercedes, will that really happen? That's
Converse,
so
he signs is going to be a free agent, so someone like Zhou, has to really perform to sort of secure his F1 future.
Just on that one there, are you saying there might be a bizarre scenario where Bottas returns to Mercedes?
I would say no. They have Mick Schumacher, they have Vasti, and they have some Mercedes driver that will be in Formula 2 this year, so they have a lot of more people. Bottas is not needed.
I think it would be slightly more far-fetched of the options. They'll want to retain a blockbuster lineup, but he is a known quantity. He'll know many people there. He'll obviously work well, not rock the boat. It allows Russell to be a clear team leader, and basically recording this within the 7 days that Hamilton has jumped to Ferrari. Stranger things have happened in the past sort of 72 hours, let alone sort of in F1 history. So, Bottas is out of contract at the end of the year.
Yeah, I wouldn't say they're so strange for Hamilton leaving a bad car for a better car. So
he might not be the direction Audi want to go. There were rumours that when his and Zhou's contracts were up for discussion halfway through 2023, that he, some people didn't want him to stay. So, yeah, stranger things have happened. So he could be, he's a plausible solution for Mercedes, but with the greatest respect, perhaps not the most inspiring, purely because he is a known quantity. He's not as good as Lewis Hamilton was, and he himself admits that.
Well, during the 2023 season, there were some key changes to the team. Andreas Seidel was brought in as the CEO, and James Key, as you were saying, the technical director. What are they saying their goals and expectations are for this season, Matt?
It is just about building up.
So, yeah, what do I think? They finished 9th this year. Last year. I think that they will probably finish the same or even worse. So 9th or 10th. In my feeling.
The team, really, Audi's a
but I hope Haas is a big worse. So 9th.
Rival is what everything is focused on, and both people have been in F1, so they're not going to be sort of fall into the trap of going, next year we can win titles. They know it's a rebuilding process, and with less sexy things like CapEx, they know that they've got a threshold to invest in the team and build up the infrastructure, some of which we know at the Swiss site has fallen behind. But they talk a good game, and both are respected figures. It's going to be really interesting to see actually where they slot in, because Seidel, with what he did with the Porsche 919 project, and then McLaren was very quickly rated as one of the shrewdest operators in Formula One, but he's left. You've got Andrea Stella come in, who's sort of taken McLaren in an even better step, and then you've also got James Key, who I'm just going to check over my shoulder before I say this, but he obviously arrived at McLaren with a really long lead time from when he was signed from Toro Rosso, but moved to McLaren with a fair reputation, not the greatest. McLaren did the recovery, the rebuild. They started climbing up positions, but then they obviously hit a plateau. Ricciardo and Norris were both complaining of a chassis with sort of fundamental handling problems. And then when Stella took the reins, he was the first person out the door. So his reputation needs a little bit of rebuilding as well.
Well, as you say, they're definitely going to be looking for some form of improvement, aren't they, over the next few months. Now, in 2026, the team becomes Audi by name. And
then I hope they will be really good. Better than Mercedes, hopefully.
That means this next year or so, what are they going to be doing? They're going to be looking for this...
more gambling partners, maybe?
laying of foundations for the future, or is it going to be short-term goals, JBL?
I think certainly foundation laying, because if you look at the next 2 years, they feel very sort of transitional, don't they?
No. Why do it? Man, do really need new headphones. Let's see.
Era is gone.
Yeah, sound back again.
We're now in this weird sort of hinterland of stake F1 team, kick Sauber, cramming as many sponsor names as they can in to kind of pay the bills a little bit.
Yeah.
And then Audi will come.
I mean, that's the only thing I can see why they take so fucking joke stuff just to get as much money from them as possible. And then when Audi comes in, they have made out so much money they could.
Come online in 2026. And that's the thing that people are excited about. I think people are maybe a little bit skeptical about it, given, you know, Audi's track record in signing up to things and then bailing. But I think people are kind of excited about it all the same. So it's going to be really, really important to ensure that Audi is starting to invest, put the foundations in place at Hinwil, because I think...
And here we have an actually called Livery.
Although they have been...
Don't know what the fuck this is.
Historically very, very good facilities. The infrastructure might need a little bit of work. So making sure that the team is operating as a full factory team, that the team is on the level of investment that, let's say, a Mercedes or a Red Bull is able to put into its facilities, that's going to be the really important thing, because Audi isn't going to want to come into Formula One and make up the numbers. It's going to go there to win. And having the best people, having the best infrastructure, and having the best drivers in place, that's the only way it can do that. It can't necessarily chase success right now, but it has to put the foundations in place to deliver success later.
Well, we teased earlier on, didn't we, about Bottas maybe going back to Mercedes. Just picture that world there. What about Carlos Sainz then? Are we likely to see him jumping into the seat in 2025 ahead of this changeover in 2026, JBL?
I think it's one of his most likely options, to be honest, because when the team does eventually become Audi, it's going to want a top-line driver.
Yeah, and I think Carlos Sainz is probably the only one that will be free for it.
And who's really available for 2026 and beyond? That, you know, they might have a look at.
What charging card do you need? Don't need one.
At time.
Thanks to plug.
Somebody like, I don't know, George Russell, who will be available, but I think he's very much a Mercedes man, and I think of the kind of options that are out there, what better way than to get somebody that's, you know, won races for Ferrari, who did a fantastic job at McLaren and was a part of their revival and helped to build the team up when, you know, it was flat on its back in 2017, 2018. Sainz joined the team 2019, 2020. He was part of that revival. I think he would be a great asset for them. I think the other options that are available, I don't know if Mercedes is particularly likely alongside George Russell. Stranger things have happened. I don't know if that would be the natural fit or natural avenue for him. And suggestions that he'd been linked with Aston Martin as well. I don't really know who makes way for Carlos Sainz. I feel like I get the feeling Alonso would like to stay in case 2025, 2026, that's a potential championship winning car. And Lance Stroll, let's be honest, he isn't going anywhere. So,
that year when Sol finally says, "Nah, Formula One isn't funny anymore." Wonder if that will be maybe a great year. I mean, at least one more seat for a good driver.
For me, it seems like the likeliest option, and I think Audi would potentially make it worth his while financially to join the team. I think it would kind of make sense for both parties involved as well. So, yeah, that's the way I see it. But, you know, I could be very, very wrong, and I probably am.
it's just a long way to go, isn't there, before any of these deals are done? But silly season has already started, hasn't it? Finally, one-word answers. You can expand on it if you want to, but one-word answers if you can. Starting with you, Matt. This livery, hit or miss?
I mean, it's a hit for being interesting. It's a miss because the reason why it was made.
Hit. And I know you said one word, Bryn, but it's bold. It's not the best, but it's bold and it's different.
There's no neon lights, so it's a big miss.
It's something new and fresh, isn't it? You know, it's not a settling into a period of like car manufacturer Red Bull-y where it's rinse and repeat. It's something a bit different, so we should celebrate that.
Yeah, we should celebrate because it's different, not because it's... I mean, the Audi livery, that's different. Should we not celebrate the team to make an Audi livery then?
Well, that was the most tentative hit I've ever heard. JBL, what do you reckon, hit or miss?
It's a swing and a miss for me. I think I'm just getting, a little bit tired of the bare carbon liveries. It's weird because a while ago when, let's just say, for example, the Jordan 191 back in the day, that was launched as a bare carbon car. I thought, oh, that would be really cool if that was raced like that. Everybody's doing it now. It's just, it's a car they've not painted with some green bits on it. It's a no from me.
Well, we shall leave it there. Thanks very much indeed.
Well, why not give your opinion?
JBL, thanks a lot for your time and for your expert eye.
Thank you very much for having me. I hope I haven't embarrassed myself too much.
And Matt, thanks very much to you as well. Expelliarmus. I think that's the word.
Absolutely. Very good, Bryn. Brilliant. I don't know any other spells to come back with you with, but I'll take that.
Oh, what is the famous spell? Oh, shit. I mean, we have... Leviosa. What do we more have? I mean, what's Avocadabra? What's it called? Let's see, Harry Potter. This say killing spell. Oh, Avada Kedavra. So I was almost right.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. That's 3 down and 7 to go, including the big guns. On Wednesday, it's Alpine's turn to launch their car to show us their offering for something they hope will improve on a So-So 2023. Don't forget to...
Oh, that's tomorrow. Alpine will be tomorrow. Then we will see if there is... if it will be Visa, Cash App, Red Bull.
Hit that subscribe button and join us for all the rest of the launches and 2024 F1 season. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, okay. Man, I forget it. Then I click. See, I click that. The clip is gone, and I can just do whatever I want to. Okay, but I will probably want. Okay, we click out. Shut up. Okay, that's done. Okay, some reaction on people's reaction on the car, and people apparently like the green, eller half like. And I would say it's interesting, it's also weird, but I mean, I see it as a yoke livery. Like you see here. the prime Red Bull, the prime Formula 1 era is Stake F1 team and Visa Cash App Red Bull. And what Formula 1 doesn't want is this unrecognized name that nobody cares. It's just washed up names. Don't give Formula 1 anything, and it's just waste of time. The Andretti team and with the Cadillac engine, nobody cares about this. This is the peak of Formula 1. Well, and the scores, I think, for now, Williams have the best car, then Sauber, then Haas. So let's see if Alpine will take the lead, or if it will most likely be better than Stake. So, but we will see tomorrow. So until then, it will be a goodbye.